Hey guys, Yuliya here. So today is a part 2 of our garden design series for the spring, and in today's video I'm going to discuss 3 topics. The first one is your lifestyle and how it will determine some of the decisions we make while designing your garden. The second topic is we're actually going to draw up concept plans for some of the gardens that I have here to show you how to get this much closer to your final design. And then the third topic, we're going to discuss garden styles. Before I start, I just wanted to introduce myself if you're new here. Hi, my name is Yuliya and I'm a landscape designer in northern New Jersey. I design small and large residential spaces as well as some commercial. I do have a master's degree in landscape design and I am also a huge gardener. So let's jump in right into the topics for today. So the first one is your lifestyle, and as I mentioned in the previous video, I do have extensive 5-page landscape design questionnaire that I hand out to my clients to fill out, so I know as much about them as possible so I can create and design this outdoor space that fits them perfectly. So in that landscape design questionnaire, I have a section that is kind of personal. So questions like how long are you going to live in this house? Is it just a couple of years, or is this your forever home? How many kids do you have? Are you planning on having any more? And what about pets? Do you have any, or are you going to get any more pets? And also, how much time can you spend gardening? I know this doesn't apply to you guys because you're huge gardeners just like I am, but some of my clients are not really interested in gardening, or they can only spend a couple of hours on the weekend. And also budgets. I know everybody is really scared to talk about budgets, but that's a huge topic, and I actually am going to address it in a separate video in couple of weeks from now, and I am going to talk about real numbers. And I know some of the people think that it is the last question that they need to answer, but sometimes it's very important for you and a landscape designer, if you choose to hire someone, to know how much money can you spend on improving your outdoor space. So when I'm thinking about all of those things, I can really tailor your outdoor space to you. And in the next topic, I will show you 2 different gardens with exactly the same layout and exactly the same site inventory and site analysis, but that turns out completely different. So remember the property that we worked on last week where we identified the site inventory and we did site analysis? So today I'm going to use exactly the same layout, but I'm going to create 2 scenarios where 2 completely different families live in the same house with the same outdoor space. And I just wanted to show you how different the garden design can be just because of the difference in this family's lifestyle. Let's take a property with exactly the same layout, exactly the same dimensions and site conditions, but let's say in this house we have a young working couple living with their 2 small children, and they also like to entertain on the weekends and invite tons of friends to barbecue and spend some quality time together. In this house we have a semi-retired couple who are huge gardeners, who also have 2 little dogs that they absolutely adore. So I'm going to take this 2 different lifestyle scenarios and show you just how different garden design concepts can be depending on their lifestyle. Now, before I start drawing, I just wanted to talk about scale a little bit. And the reason why scale is important in our drawings and as well as in the outdoor space is that we're just trying to understand how big our spaces are when we're designing them. So what you need to do is just go outside and start measuring, like let's say these steps or maybe the front steps. And what we're looking for is a length of about 10 feet. Because what I'm trying to see here is what a 10 by 10 square looks like. And it so just happened that these steps right here are actually 10 feet across. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just take a blank Post-it note and draw just a little dash. This is 10 feet. And then in the corner here, I'm going to draw a line that represents 10 feet in this space right here. And then I'm going to draw another line perpendicular here and make this a square. And this square is our 10 by 10 space. This is as simple as that. So what you can also do, you can use Google Maps, and I will show you how to use Google Maps to identify the scale now. All right, so here we are in Google Maps, and let's say this is your house. You typed in your address and this showed up. You changed it from the map view to the satellite view, and you see this little dash right here that says 100 feet. This is actually your scale. That means from here to here is 100 feet in this space. So above, from this corner to this corner, it's 100 feet. And then what you could do is actually start zooming in. And as you can see, when I zoom in, this scale changes as well. So it gets a little bit more accurate. It is not 100% accurate, obviously not as accurate as the site survey that I'm recommending that you're using, but the Google Maps is also a very helpful tool when you design in your property. The reason I don't use it a lot, I use it sometimes but not a lot, is because sometimes the properties are very wooded, so I'm not sure where the property line is, what's going on under the trees, but your Google Maps can not only be helpful for the scale here, it can also be helpful for your site inventory. After we figure out our scale, we can start drawing our concept design. And what we're going to reference is the site inventory that we did in the previous video and also our site analysis. Now, what we're going to do first, we're going to draw the things that are kind of necessary. So remember, we had wind here, so we need wind screen. We need screening from the trash right here and also from our neighbors. And what we're going to do, we're going to simply draw bubbles and loose shapes of our features. And the important thing is that they have very rounded and kind of rough shapes right here. So these are my screens. Remember, I had a little screen right here. Again, we're referencing our site analysis. And I'm going to draw screens like this. Hash it really well. And then remember, this is the family that wants to entertain a lot on the weekends, so they need a lot of outdoor patio space. And again, we're going to draw it very roughly like a bubble like this. And this is when the scale comes into play. You know, this is 10 by 10, so this space is roughly 10 by 10, and this is probably 20 by 15. So this is a decent sized patio for their family. And I'm going to draw it like this. So each function in your garden will have different hashes like this, and you can come up with your own, or you can get out colorful pencils and kind of start coloring your different spaces here. And then we have our two kids, so I'm thinking, where can I put my play set? This is kind of nice. This is nicely sheltered here. There's sheltered from the wind. There's a nice shade tree right here. And I also can see them from my kitchen window and the patio when I'm hanging out with my friends. So let's put our play area right here. And remember, when you're working on your concept design, all these things can change, and you can design a space thousands of different ways, but there's only one way that is right for you, and that is right for your site because of the site analysis. And then let's say we have a homeowner that wants to try a little vegetable gardening. So we have, this is our south. I forgot to identify this, guys, sorry. This is west, this is east and north. And I know this space right here, remember? That gets a lot of sun. So I'm thinking my vegetable garden can go right here. And the homeowner just wants a very small one, maybe 10 by 10. And remember, this is our 10 by 10, so I know this is the space for my vegetable garden here. It will receive minimum 6 hours of sun. And this is when you're trying to figure out where to put all of your plantings, specific plantings like the shade ones, the sun-loving ones, the vegetable garden. You can make as many mistakes on paper as you want. Mistakes in real life, unfortunately, are very costly and labor intensive. And I'm not saying I did not make mistakes in real life, which I did plenty. But a lot of times I make a lot of decisions on paper before I go out there and I start putting things in and building or planting them as well. So what I'm going to do next, I'm just going to speed up this drawing process and kind of go over everything that I drew. So this is our concept design, and what we're trying to accomplish here is to see how large our areas are going to be, like for example the lawn and the patio, or the lawn in the front and the ground cover. And also what we're trying to do is to identify perfect locations for our features. In this particular phase, we can still switch things, like for example the vegetable garden can be placed right here because there's still enough sun here, or the play area may be put in there. So this is the time to try as many options as possible, but when you settle on one, you are so close to your final design. Anyway, let me show you what the semi-retired couple would like to have in their space. All right, so let's look at our semi-retired couple garden design concept. As you remember, these people are gardeners and huge gardeners. So their vegetable garden is much, much bigger. So remember, our scale here is 10 by 10. So this is probably almost 20 by 15. They don't entertain a lot, so they don't need a that large of a patio area, but they would like to have some sort of a destination patio area here under the shade of the tree and among the shade perennials that they will grow here. This may be their meadow through which they will have this beautiful walkway. Their lawn kept to minimal in their backyard. Now the screening stays the same because remember, our site conditions are the same as with the previous family. And in the front, they're going with very minimal lawn and mostly plantings of rare plants that they are going to tend after. So as you can see, this is very different from our family of 4. And this is exactly the same size and exactly the same layout and exactly the same condition. And you could say it really is determined by these families' lifestyles. Let me give you a couple of tips on when you're working on your concept design. First of all, explore as many options as possible. And as you're exploring them, you will come up with one that is perfect for you and your family. The second is to go outside again and again and again. You can't just design on paper, you have to go outside and feel the space. In fact, sometimes I tell my clients that I will drop by this week sometime. Just ignore me. I will probably stand in the middle of the lawn and stare into space, but I'm actually thinking and plotting in my mind what goes where. And the third tip is to really understand scale in your garden. And the biggest thing is that we perceive scale very differently inside our houses or dwellings than outside. For example, last week I had to measure the diameter of my Japanese maple's tree ring because I need to remulch it. And it was 12 feet across, which seemed like not a big space at all. At the same time, this room that I'm in right now is actually 12 feet across as well, and it seems just so much larger. So we perceive spaces and scales much larger indoors rather than outdoors, because outside we don't have any references usually, like ceilings or walls. So definitely go outside and feel your space, think about it, and then come back inside and draw your concept plan again and again until you're happy. Now let's talk about our last topic for today, and it is garden styles. And garden style is a pretty important topic because it will determine some of the shapes and layouts of our outdoor space, as well as materials, plants, garden accessories, and many other details of our outdoor space. So I was looking for some of the resources online to determine garden style of a person who just have no experience with gardens, and there are very few resources. But I found a couple of quizzes that you can take online that will kind of help you and guide you in the right direction. But by far the most helpful resource was house.com. So I will show you how to go on house.com and kind of get an idea of what your outdoor garden style may be. When you go to the link that I provided for you in the description down below, this page will open up with landscape ideas. And what is incredibly helpful here is the Style tab. When you click on this Style tab, you will have all these different styles, from beach house, craftsman, French country, rustic, and so on and so forth. When you click on one of these, let's do French country, you will have all of these photographs. My internet is really slow today. It's raining outside. So you can see that all of these this one is actually one of my designs, and it's because it's my profile, just ignore this. It's obviously not French country. But you see all of these French themed gardens show up. And you can just feast your eyes away with these beautiful photographs and start collecting all of these ideas for your gardens. And then when you go back here, you can actually tailor it to even further by space, location, types, hardscape, sun exposure. So this is one of the most helpful style guides for your outside space that I found. Alright guys, this is it for today. So you know you will have homework, so you can start drawing up your concept designs and trying to figure out your garden style. Now if you are overwhelmed, it is perfectly normal, just like I said in the previous video. And remember guys that I am condensing 2 intense years of graduate school here for you and putting them in these short videos. So if I were you, I would pat yourself in the back, because this is a very complicated subject that you're learning right now. Anyway, I hope you're enjoying these videos. This garden series will continue on, and if you have questions as per usual, let me know, and I'll see you next time. Bye.